It's wonderful for me to see Natalie Pearson live on Zoom, because we've done some phone interviews in the past, Natalie, but I've never seen you like this or interviewed you like this. So hello, lovely to see you.
Hi, you too, back at you.
Now, you have released a new single, Lovin in the Fast Lane, and you wrote this with Brooke Chevelle and Tori Dark. And when I saw that, I was like, that is a powerhouse writing trio. So how did the writing of the song come about?
It was actually really easy, right? I'd never written before with Tori, and she's a very accomplished writer. Like, she's written with some big names. Every song that I've ever heard that she has been a writer on has been amazing. So, I was a bit nervous going into the write, going like, oh, what if my writing chops aren't up to speed? But we bounced really well. She's really easy to get along with. So the write went really well, and it was actually over Zoom.
I was about to say, was it a COVID tune?
It was a COVID tune. So she came up with this idea of having a reckless relationship, and we put it on the road, because it was like, reckless driving, and it's ending up at a destination. So we had all of these play on words that we were going with the tune, and I think it turned out pretty catchy. So yeah.
It's very catchy. So did you, so you found, I guess when you start writing with someone new, there's a while to get into a rhythm maybe, or did this one just flow pretty easily?
This one was actually really easy. So like I usually writes, someone will bring an idea to the table, and then we kind of get on like the Zoom, or even if you're in face-to-face with a person, it's just like a catch up. Like you get in there and it's just like, oh, how's life been? And you break the ice and just kind of, I don't know, you get into that comfortable zone where you're like, okay, cool, we've had a catch up, and now like we can relax and then just let the ideas flow. And I think to be a good writer, you've got to be willing to put ideas out, and willing to have those ideas be sometimes not great. And also as a co-writer, to be able to have the confidence to say, like, I like where you're going with that, but that's not quite what we're trying to say. It's a good communication back and forth. And I think all three of us were really great at that, at just, egos aside, there's, it's about the song. Make the song great. Don't worry about the egos behind it. It doesn't make someone, good or bad. It's just ideas, put it out there. And if it's what the song's direction is meant to be, then it stays in. If it's not, we find a way to say it better.
Yeah, it sounds like when there's more than one person in the writing room, it's like an intensive editing process as you're writing. Like you're creating, but also constantly editing as you go, because of course the song, you have to be so disciplined in how you shape it. You don't have a lot of words, you don't have a lot of time. So that I guess that commitment to, as you said, egos aside, the commitment to producing the best song also means you can tolerate the harsh editing if it comes.
Yeah. And it's, so how do we say this the best possible way and with the least amount of words? Like it's actually about saying it as succinctly as you can, so that it's like straight away people hear that line and they're like, yes, I totally know, what that felt like.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wonder if, because like a script is a set of directions for an actor and a director, I'm wondering if a song for you as a live performer, do you see it almost as, well, there's the recorded version of the song, but then that's like a set of instructions for me as a live performer, and I can take this song in a different place when I'm performing it live.
Yeah, absolutely. Every song has a structure. Like every song has, the verse, the chorus, the pre-chorus, the bridge, like it's in different orders sometimes. But that's the dynamic of most songs. So like there is a formula behind it, I guess, that that people know works. So that's where you start. And then if it doesn't fit that song, that's okay. It doesn't have to, but at least it gives you somewhere to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you are known for releasing upbeat songs, mood lifters. You also can release some very heartfelt songs, but I think if someone wanted to have a bit of a pep up, one of your songs would be a great selection. And I noticed your Instagram bio says you are creating empowering music. Is that a direction you've always had, or is that something that you found yourself in lately?
I think it's probably always been who I am as a person. Like No, I just think, sorry, I've got dogs coming at me in every direction.
I'm very happy to see a dog.
Got like this one going, let me in, and this one's stuck in a pen because he had a injury. Yeah. Anyway, let's try and ignore them. Yeah. So I think I've always been, trying to, I've always been an empowering person. I think, like, I've always tried to look on the positive side of things. I've always been one to raise other people up. Like, there's room for all of us. I don't see it as a competition. I think that everybody brings their own thing to the table, and like me or someone else having success, and then like lifting someone else up doesn't lessen their success. It doesn't lessen their opportunities. So that it doesn't make sense to me when when that doesn't happen. So I think that everybody should do that. And I guess because that is kind of who I am as a person, that does flow into the music, I guess. Yeah, like that is kind of what happens in the writing process. Is it's a bit of you that comes out into that song.
Yeah. Do you have a sense when you're writing, when you're recording, performing live, that you are making that connection with people who you may never meet them, you won't know necessarily what they need, but they may need some empowerment? So do you kind of feel that either in your heart or your head?
Yeah, I mean, like when I sing, I guess I'm kind of singing for me, like, because I love being on stage. That I do it because I love it, but then afterwards is when I kind of get people say, oh my gosh, that song, you like spoke to me on that level, and you just made me think, let him talk, or I should be embracing my flaws, or like whatever the song is about. They go, oh my gosh, that song really spoke to me. And then that's what makes it really cool, because you're like, I wasn't like, it wasn't a thought out process, it just happened naturally.
Yeah. And in a similar vein, I saw something on an Instagram post of yours where you said the last 2 years have been about resilience and this year is about confidence. But I'm wondering if that experience of having to be resilient, as so many artists had to be over the past 2 years, has actually helped you build confidence.
I think so. It's just like, try new things and be okay if it doesn't work out. Just be confident to try something different. And see what happens. So yeah, like the resilience, a lot of people have had a really tough time. It's just lots of random things that let the curveballs get thrown at you, and you're like, how does this keep happening? But we're still here, we're still pushing on, we're still being creative and being positive and still smiling. So I think, the confidence comes because of where we've come and what we survived and what we were able to get through. Yeah.
I mean, I've certainly felt at the end of this period, now that gigs are happening again, people can tour. It does amaze me actually how many artists are still around. I thought it was so difficult, really. Yeah. And we're talking about livelihoods, and it's not just about doing something you love. Some people might think, well, but you just doing it because you love it. No, it's a job, and it was your job before lockdown. And I just find it really inspiring how many artists are actually still here, still performing, still loving it, putting out music as you're doing. So I guess it's a comment more than a question.
Yeah, I can see the determination with everyone coming back into it. They're just like, right, here I am, right. And like even right now, there's so much music being released. Like there is a lot. So, I'm putting my music out. I'm like, oh gosh, did I put it out at the right time? There is so much being released, and it's all amazing because everyone had like 2 years of just being cooped up and letting those creative juices flow. And then now it's like the gates are open and everyone's like, let me at it. So, and I'm one of them.
Well, I think for music fans, there's no such thing as too much music. So, it's great when it's all Australian artists releasing the fantastic music. Now, part of the resilience you had to deal with was the fact that your family's in Perth. And of course, we know that the Western Australian border came down and stayed down for about 2 years, and you're in Queensland. So I'm wondering if you've been able to see them yet, or if you have plans to see them.
I have. They actually, as soon as the borders opened where they could get back into Western Australia, still had to quarantine, right. But they were actually allowed back. My parents booked the flight and they came over for my river cruise, and then stayed for like a week and a bit just to hang out and catch up, and that was really great to see them. And then they flew back to Perth, did the quarantine, and then literally 2 days, I think, after their quarantine period would have been up, they were like, oh, no quarantine now. And I'm like, you should have stayed here for an extra week, because then you could have actually, done something, not being cooped up at home, and then no quarantine when you get home. But, you just never know what's going to happen. So I'm very, very grateful that it happened the way that it did, and I got to see them.
Fantastic. And you mentioned your river cruise. Now, this is Riverfest, which you put on with Brooke Chevelle, Taylor Moss, and Lincoln Phelps, I think.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, this year, because you have had some other performers in the past, and it looked like a lot of fun from the photos I saw.
Yeah, it was really fun.
So congratulations on getting that done, because I know you had some postponements, if not cancellations, over the past couple of years. So it looked like it was sold out.
Yeah, we were at capacity.
Yeah,
which is pretty incredible. So it was very, very touch and go leading up to it, because right around, or I think it was 2 weeks before that, was when Brisbane had like just an explosion of cases, and people were like worried about lockdowns, or scared to catch it, or everything like that. So people weren't buying tickets, and to put on a river cruise where you're hiring a boat, you're sorting out catering, you're sorting out a backing band, and then you've got to guarantee payment for those artists who have committed to do that event. It was like, the risk is high, but I think we just see what happens. And then the cases just declined, and I think everybody that I knew had already had it by then. So like, we've had it now, it's all good. But yeah, there was, there started to be more confidence, like in the last week pretty much was when everyone was like, yes, let's do this. Let's go out to a live event. So yeah, they came out and was amazing. It's just so good to be in the vibe and have people listen to live music again.
Yeah.
In fresh air.
Absolutely. I think it's such a great idea. I wish there was one in Sydney. This is part of your work, though, as an independent artist. You're also an event organizer, basically, a tour organizer. So it's there are a lot of different facets to being an independent artist. So I'm wondering, because I know in the past you've done that cruise towards the end of the year. Are you planning another one towards the end of this year?
Yeah, I've actually, because our initial, like when we started doing it, was 1 a year. And then we were like, let's do 2 a year. We'll do one in February, one in September. And then the boat owner, we were chatting to him, and he was saying, winter in Brisbane is actually beautiful on the water. Like we don't have the rain, and it's not too cold. And I was like, so I think maybe it's going to turn into 3 a year. So maybe we're going to change the theme up just to, I don't know, keep it fresh. We're still thinking about the theme, but I think doing the 3 is potentially a goer.
Well, it's a great idea for punters, because they get a variety of artists and they get a cruise, and I presume there's probably dinner as well, or something like a lunch or whatever it is.
Yeah, there's like finger food and stuff, and a licensed bar on board. So it's just a day out, and I think that's what makes like events like this so great, is because it's not just going and checking out someone's band. It's like, it's a day. Like they actually, get dressed up. They make an effort to, some people have booked a hotel in the city. So they come out, they have like a, 4-hour cruise with all their friends, and then they go to an after party, and they've just seen, like, it's like, going to a mini festival on the water. So it's a day out. And I feel like people really like having the experience of doing something social.
Well, people can keep an eye on your website and your socials, no doubt, for news of that potential winter cruise. And I'm sure amongst the songs you played on the river was Strong Man and possibly Everywhere, which is your Fleetwood Mac cover that you released recently. Yes. And I did see some mention somewhere that there may be an album coming. So is that that's release date set?
So the album, I'm kind of doing things a little bit different to the norm, I guess. So I recorded a whole bunch of songs, and there's some songs on the album as well that I've already released digitally online and to radio and everything. The CD is done and it's physically over there. But the CD itself has all of the songs that I'm planning on releasing over the next year, and some that have already come out, and if you want to hear them all before their digital release date, you can buy a CD at any of my gigs, because some people have already got their hot little hands on them already. But otherwise, if you want to do a slow rollout and build the anticipation and hear each song one by one as they come out, then it'll just be available digitally and on radio one by one. Right. So yeah, kind of doing it backwards, I guess. The album's done, but yeah, it won't be released all in one online.
Got it. I saw something today saying CDs are making a comeback. So, and I think for certain audiences, especially country music, they haven't gone away, but people like having something in their hands, I think.
I think so. It's like, you know, and like the thing about CDs, I remember, you know, when I was little, like you open the CD and you've got like all of the, you know, the credits written in there about who wrote the song, and there's photos in there, and sometimes it has the lyrics in there. So there's something about that experience that is still cool.
Yeah. The last time we spoke, I think Queensland had not long come out of having no gigs, and you were back playing quite a lot of gigs. Actually, you seem to have a really stacked schedule, and I was seeing that you played 112 shows last year. Are there any that stand out for you?
Last year, Groundwater Country Music Festival, definitely. That was my first time playing as my own artist. Like I'd been in everybody else's band before, or as a guest appearance, but this was my first set as me with a band, and it was on the main stage. So I was pretty stoked to have gotten that slot. I played right before Casey Barnes and Adam Brand. So like I was like, I'm so like happy right now. I can't even express to you like how cool this spot is to be, you know, having that opportunity is amazing.
Yeah, and actually a responsibility, I think, because you got to get the crowd amped up for Casey and then for Adam.
Totally. And like, to be honest, I was like being myself that, you know, I was like, I had a few vodka shots before I went on, because I was actually really nervous. I don't often get nervous, but I was like, I feel like, you know, I've been saying I want to get on this festival. I better back it up. Like I better not mess it up. So I was very nervous about that. But I came out, and the adrenaline was pumping, and my dad was in the audience because they came over for Groundwater as well. That was before Border Slam things as well. But my dad said that I came out and there was just like so much energy. He was like, oh God, she's gone in too big too soon. She'll never be able to keep that up for a 50-minute set. And then he was like, but then you did. So, yeah.
Well, with those sorts of high energy sets, because I imagine with some shows you're also playing more than one set, how do you manage those energy levels so that your voice is at top capacity? Because, you know, your songs are powerful. It's not as if you're whispering into the microphone. No. So do you have techniques for how you manage all of that and keep your voice tip top?
Like I'm pretty bad with the warm-up situation, if I'm being honest. I should be doing more warm-ups and everything than I do on a regular basis. But when it's before a big performance like Groundwater, I did do the warm-ups. And I guess it's just keeping in check. So although I was really high energy and everything, I still was very mindful of, okay, this is a big song, so don't like scream it. Like it needed to be like, okay, I'm singing powerfully, but technique still needs to be, you know, in mind. So I do always think about what it feels like when I'm singing, and I correct when I need to. Adrenaline can kind of, you know, make you go off the path a little bit, but I'm always thinking about bringing it back into the technique. So yeah, but you still want to have fun. You don't want to have to be totally thinking about technique.
And there's a certain point, I would imagine it's instincts. You've been doing it for a while now, even though you're a young woman, like you're really experienced performing. So I would think at a point you can trust yourself. Yeah,
that's it. And, you know, like they're songs that I've been doing over and over again anyway, because I, you know, wrote them and then recorded them and then tested them out at my shows and stuff. So, you know, I've done the songs enough to like work out where I can push my boundaries live.
Yeah. But Groundwater is on the Gold Coast, and you are a Gold Coast based artist, and there are several country music artists on the Gold Coast now, including Taylor Moss, who was on the Riverfest with you, and Brooke Chevelle, Casey Barnes. So I'm wondering, you know, is this the new home of Australian country music?
Well, yeah, there's actually a lot more than that too. There's Lee Kernaghan, there's Adam Brand, there's Matt Cornell, there's Mel Lucan. There is the Route 33 boys are in Brisbane. Like there's quite a lot actually in between Brisbane and Gold Coast, and even Sunshine Coast. Taylor's actually from Sunshine Coast. So yeah, like it, but it's not that far from each other. So I have actually found that we've been doing a lot more working together with the little crew that's building. Like a few weeks ago, there was a writing camping weekend. It wasn't camping, but it was like a 2-day intensive writing thing up at Brisbane, and there was 23 artists and writers that went up and worked with producers. And it was like, you rock up, split into groups, write a song, demo it, come back, have lunch, split up, write a song, demo it, come back, split up, do another one. And it was like so many amazing songs came out of just that weekend. And it just made me realize how much talent we actually have literally in our own backyards.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can also add like venue owner and operator to your list of things that you do. You can get a country music venue going.
Maybe that'd be cool.
Now I'll ask you one last question because you have a busy evening. You have your own Nat Pack. Can you tell us what that is and what it involves?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook group called the Nat Pack. It just kind of started as like, I guess, like a little like street team kind of, fan hangout where they just would post, oh, Nat's doing this show here, or helping with song, choosing what song's going to be the next release, or merch ideas or whatever. So, and then it's kind of just, it's grown and grown and grown. And I think I've got there's about 800 people in there now, which is pretty incredible. So yeah, they all are very, very interactive with each other. They all come to the festivals. Like there was Groundwater a few years ago, and I put it in the Nat Pack that I was going to be doing just an acoustic like set on the beach. It was like not official, not anything to do with the festival, but I was like, well, I'm going to the festival anyway, so before any of the actual acts start, how about you all grab a coffee, because I'm a big coffee fan. Grab a coffee from anywhere. I'll set up a picnic rug somewhere and come down, and everybody can meet each other. And then like I'll tell you what artists I'm going to be checking out over the weekend. If you want to come with me, come with me. Otherwise, now you've made a whole bunch of new friends. And it was amazing. They all came down, went around the circle and introduced themselves and how long they've been enjoying country music. It was like a little AA session for country music bands. And now they're all lifelong friends. So they literally like come out and hang out together, and they didn't know each other before the Nat Pack. So that's pretty cool. Like it's pretty impressive, I think.
Oh yeah, look what you created.
That a Facebook group did something that cool. So, but yeah, apart from that, they do help me out with, if I put down, I'm thinking about this T-shirt design, this one or this one, and they'll all choose their favorites, which is great because they've helped me decide what they like, and also I'm making something that they are going to like. So hopefully they'll wear it. Yeah. But no, they're great. They're amazing.
Well, I think you should be incredibly gratified that you've created a community that's amazing, and they have that connection with you and with each other. That's a very powerful piece of work, as are your songs. So Natalie, it's been great to talk to you. I look forward to the singles that are on that CD coming out over time. And
I'll send you a CD.
Okay. So if people are at a show, they can buy one. Yes. So thank you very much for speaking to me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was lovely to speak to you too.
Bye.
See ya.